We've had a few conversations at lunch in the last few months about milk and other various dairy products and the ways in which they differ from one another. And so I figured that I guess somehow I knew a little bit more about milk than a lot of other people, and I don't know why, because I'm kind of lactose intolerant and I really don't drink a lot of milk or consume a lot of dairy products. But I figured that I would collect some information because I guess you don't work here. We try not to look things up on our phones when we have arguments at lunch, and so it's all just sort of like whoever's yelling louder kind of wins a lot of the time. So anyway, I'll show you actually after this presentation because this is too complicated. If you do a Google image search of milk, it is just a collection of milk splashing into a glass on a blue background, just like every single image. So that's interesting. So humans are remarkable for being the only species that actually consumes milk past infancy, and also for consuming milk from animals other than outside of its own species. Humans have been consuming milk for upwards of 7,000 years. Actually, the first solid evidence of humans consuming milk is from 5,000 BC. Milk is really good nutritionally because it's a good way of actually getting nutrition in areas where there aren't a lot of natural resources, since animals that provide dairy are actually able to make this substance with high protein and fat content out of essentially grass. Most adults are lactose intolerant, actually, but it varies a lot on ethnicity. Since it's not really natural to consume milk after infancy, most people's lactase production levels off around between ages 2 and 5. So this is actually an interesting breakdown of lactose intolerance by ethnicity. It turns out that people from Scandinavia, the rate of lactose intolerance is about 2%, whereas African Americans are lactose intolerant at a rate of about 70%. So it varies a lot. So we are most familiar with milk from cows, but humans consume milk from various other animals: buffalo, yak, goat, sheep, and camel. Actually common in northeast Africa. And so different animals have different compositions of milk, different amounts of fat and protein and lactose and such. And the amount of protein actually roughly corresponds to the rate of growth of the baby. So cows double their birth weight in roughly half the time that humans do. And so different animals need different amounts of nutrition in their milk. The average, so a cow is actually able to produce 15 gallons of milk a day, which is 100 pounds, but most American dairy cows produce about half of that, but that's really a lot. So this is a pretty common discussion at the lunch table, the various percentages of milk fat. So whole milk from American cows is generally like 3.5% to 4% fat. Half and half is 12%, so that's taking whole milk and light cream and combining them. And light cream is actually the natural fat percentage when you just let the cream separate from the milk naturally. When you make the higher fat percentages, you actually are adding milk fat back into the cream. So pasteurization is a process by which milk is heated to kill microbes and extend its shelf life. And homogenization is a process by which milk is, the fat and the rest of the milk are combined so that they don't separate. Let's see. So we've also had conversations about concentrated milks, evaporated milk, sweetened condensed milk. Powdered milk are the most common types of concentrated milks. Evaporated milk is 60% of the water removed. Sweetened condensed milk is the same as evaporated milk, but with sugar added. the ratio of milk to sugar is about 1 to 1. And then powdered milk has all the water taken out of it and doesn't need to be refrigerated or canned like evaporated and sweetened condensed often are. So butter, covering the bases of dairy products. Butter is created when cream is agitated and the fat globules break apart and then the fat condenses together to form butter. We also have various types of fermented milks. The most common ones that we see here in America are yogurt, buttermilk, and sour cream. The differences between them are based on the microbes that cause the fermentation and the amount of time that they're allowed to ferment. And then just a note about cheese, which is basically milk which is curdled with the water removed, and then it's often brined as well to preserve it. The way that cheese was originally curdled was using rennet, which is an enzyme found in animal stomachs. Some cheeses are still actually made with rennet from animal stomachs, but a lot of it is made from vegetables now. And so the distinctions between cheeses are based on the type of milk, the animal that it comes from, the various bacteria and fungi that are added to it, the amount of time that it ages, and all sorts of other different things which give us a glorious variety of cheeses. So I think that may actually be it for my overview. It is. For my overview of dairy products. But just for fun, we look at this, and we look at the images, and we make this bigger. It's really just actually remarkable how many of these and they're all different. It's not even like it's the same image over and over. It's always blue. Yeah. Milk just looks good on a blue background, I guess. Yeah, so that's it.